Well, welcome to another episode of the Billy Ho Show. Now, when I was a boy, probably about 9 or 10, I had to mow the lawns. And I had to mow the lawns with a hand mower like that one up there. And when the old man sort of come out to inspect the lawn, there'd be all these pieces of paspalum everywhere, and then I get my ass kicked because I didn't mow the paspalum. But that just wouldn't cut paspalum. So I knew when it was paspalum season, I look forward to my ass being kicked because there's no way, unless I got a pair of scissors, something afterwards, I mean, cut them all down. But they would not cut paspalum. Everything else, fine, but not paspalum. So I have this little, well, I'm allergic to them, let's say that. But it's good to see one, but not really. I went to a place not far from Methven in the Canterbury Plains and spoke to Syd Hogg, who spent a lifetime operating draglines and still does today under contract to keep the silt from building up in the canals that feed power stations in the area. So let's join Syd and see how he does it. This is basically what the winch drums are attached to. I see the one in the back there's got a
lagging.
The lagging, is that what they call it? Yep. And this front one's built for a shovel with a bigger
face shovel. Drive the double winches in the front for crowding a face shovel.
So looking at this piece here is on my outside, and that other side will be where you are.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we're watching the machines work, you see these.
That is the slew clutch.
Yeah.
This cog on the inside.
Yep. Drives
the machine left and right.
Oh, right.
That one way, that one's the other way. They turn opposite, so it gives you a two-way slew. All the drum section just free wheel on the shaft until you engage your clutch, and then becomes a solid unit.
So and it's like you were saying, if you let everything go, it just free falls, hits the bottom, and the wires keep going.
Yes.
So all these are what you have to control to stop that from happening.
Yes.
It's just amazing. Yeah.
And it's just 3-inch or 4-inch brake band on the outside there. That's your on the centre there. That's your hoist brake goes on that band there.
I just see these. Is this hard to replace? This clutch?
No, not really.
Pads? No. It's not like a railway wheel where you've got to put this on. You're actually coming from the other side. You're coming from inside.
Yeah, no, it slides out. Just undo the thing. Pull the two pins and it just slides out.
Ah,
yeah.
Simple. Yep.
And with Rust and Bucyrus, all clutches, bands, fit everything.
Oh.
There's no changes. In an NCK, your slew bands are different from your hoist bands, from your drag bands to, yes. So
Bucyrus thought interchangeable.
Yeah.
It's got to work. Yeah.
Bucyrus Aries, the American section of it, copied it. They used to be all different bands, and so they went to the English design with one band fits all.
Fair enough, yeah. Well, there you go, folks. A little inside look into the guts of the old dragline. Amazing. Can I come up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tap dancing.
Tap dancing.
All day. See, with the dragline, everything is free fall.
Oh, okay. It's like an old free spool reel that I use for fishing.
Yeah.
And if I don't feather it a wee bit, it just goes in. Yeah.
You bird's nest on the winch drums. Yeah. You've either got to have a hand on clutch or a foot on the brake.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically the same as flying a helicopter.
Yeah. So you got both hands going.
You drive a dragline, you fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
It's basically the same procedure.
So you've got two on the feet, and you're either this one or this one.
That one is your drag drum.
Yep.
It pulls the rope in.
Yep.
As you come in, you hold that brake, lift the hoist one, so your bucket doesn't run out and tip out.
Yep.
When you get up to where you want to be, you let it go and put your foot on the brake and go round, and then you feather this one out to let your bucket tip. We shall attempt to make a mistake.
Okay.
My neighbour, when I was a young boy, had two nice daughters. They used to travel from Invercargill out to a little place called Taihaka, between Riverton and Colic Bay, and he was a dragline contractor. Oh. Rather than leave me with his daughters, he'd say, come with me. An old jail bar V8 truck, and there'd be a heap of 4-gallon tins in the back full of diesel. My job was to carry them during the day out across the swamp where he was on mats, keep the machine with diesel. So from there he let me play with it at smoko and lunchtime, but I wasn't allowed to put anything in the bucket. I could go through all the movements. He was 13, 14 years of age.
Well, that's a good place to start, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just amazing how Syd can redistribute that load just using the bucket just to drag a bit of sand and level it all out on the back of the truck. Look at that. Now that takes a lot of skill. Back into the stream it goes, and what he's doing is just taking the silt out of these canals that belong to the power board. A bit like the canals up at Twizel, these feed power stations. Up like a big submarine. Look at that. Yeehaw. Truck full, I'd say. That'd be the last one. Syd was saying there's about 20 tonne on that truck. I'll get Syd to put this load on the ground. That way we can have a good look at the bucket. Well, here it is. This is the business end of the drag line. This is the bucket. Syd's just chucked it in the water. He's brought up the silt, and we're going to put it on the truck. But all these chains and everything all have a purpose to make this dig. We'll put it up there, and then it'll just slew down, and this will fall out. But I just thought I'd come and see this bucket. Just have a good look around it. The front drum is the drum that pulls the drag line in, and the back drum is the one that lifts it. And the one up the top there is lifting the boom.
Yeah, they're
boom controls, yeah. So looking at these drum set, how hard is that to get a bird's nest out of? You have to sort of pull it till it...
No, dig your bucket in and walk the machine away until you pull all the rope off the drum. Oh. If it doesn't go that tight that it cuts itself.
Oh, okay. I just see there's a bit of squashed wire.
Yeah, that's just on the first wrap.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So just note this, folks. But some people you're saying can look at a rope and know when it's going to break.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Good on you. But you can't, as you were saying, you look at a hydraulic hose, there's no way you're going to know when it's going to go pop.
When you lay your boom down, one of the worst wear points is where it comes over the tip of the boom on the hoist rope.
Yep.
When you lay your boom down every third day to grease it, you look at that rope, and if it's got any more than 6 cracked strands in a metre, time to throw it away.
Oh, okay. So you can't just sort of pull that, sort of damaged bit away and just add a bit like they did with the, those carry-alls. They had a bit of extra rope, and when they get to the point where they...
No, because you only use a certain amount on your drums here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, throw it away.
And just start fresh. Yeah. Where do you buy the rope?
Oh, Cooks's, or
okay.
They've changed their name now, but Cooks's.
So it's still available?
Yeah. Oh yeah, my rope's still available.
Wow.
Same rope as they use on ski tows and
all that sort of thing.
Lifts in buildings and...
Yeah.
Yeah. They're still making wire rope.
There's three little, it says engage, disengage, on, off, swing.
That's engine clutch at the bottom.
Yep.
See on the engine clutch?
Yep.
And then your swing brake.
Yep.
That's to stop your machine blowing around. Especially when you're crane working and you want to stop and hold it in one position.
Yep.
And then your other levers for your swing to propel.
So you're using that to actually do the cast?
No, your swing is for your slew lever, so it turns this way and that way.
Right.
When you come into propel, it changes the clutches on the inside and drives the tracks in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other little levers up there are the ones that actually steer the tracks.
Oh, the little jobs.
The little ones in the front there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
They put either left or right at a gear and put a brake on, and that makes her slew round.
I see there's a little oil can tucked with a bit of rag in there. What do you do with that?
Some of the pedal levers don't have grease nipples on them, so we
give them a bit of oil.
Just a bit of oil.
Yeah. Is this like a to crawl a tractor? Got grease nipples everywhere?
There's 82 grease nipples on this machine.
There's a bloke in Antarctica that's got a collection of grease guns. He's got about 200 grease guns.
Yeah.
And all for different things. But
yeah.
Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 just sitting there. Wow.
That greases the propel shafts and that underneath.
Yeah. And I see there's a bit of grease stuck on that.
On the turntable.
Yep.
Yeah. It's pumped down from up the top.
Right.
But the big drive teeth that drives around are on the inside of there.
Oh, okay. Yep.
The big pinion on the back.
So when you cast that bucket before, I felt the side sort of go up a wee bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's nothing. You don't worry about that. Yeah.
You'll feel them lift up, but it's only lifting the frame in the tracks. They don't actually lift the tracks off the ground.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's only the movement in the rollers in the frame.
Yeah. So this is a 5-piston Ruston Bucyrus, and it's done great service. And Syd said it's just the perfect engine for what this machine does. So we've got brakes, we've got the lever for lifting it, we've got the lever for dropping it. This slews the machine around so I load the truck, and so these are the two. So I've got hand on 2 levers and feet on both brakes, controlling the clutches, which are right next door, which in turn control the winches, and the front winch is the one that pulls it in. So this job pulls it in and this job lifts it. So I'm not brave enough to have a go at sort of doing something with that bucket out there, but it's just interesting to be sitting here, and you'd sit in here for maybe 4 hours and then have a break, and then another 4 hours just slewing backwards and forwards and cleaning the canal. So Syd, you're amazing. But the thing about looking out at that bucket out there, when he flicks the bucket, it drops straight down to the bottom. And if I had a digger, it would go out as far as it can, but then when it starts to come back in again, it has to do that. So it's not picking up the material right by the bank. It probably doesn't get to the bottom of it until about halfway across, and then it digs in. So this is the perfect machine to cast the bucket out and bring the silt in right from that side to this side, and then get rid of it. Just looking up, you can see the controls all the way up to the boom. You can see what this lifting rope's doing. And yeah, it's just, everything about this is just right. Although, well, if I look out to the left-hand side, I've got a window here, but I am a bit blind to what's going on that side. Perfect this side, not so good off to the left. There you go, folks. That's what a dragline bucket looks like, and you've seen it work. And Syd, you're a legend.
I don't know about that.
But when I was sitting in those machines in the earlier programs, and I said we were going to go and have one of these things doing it, well, we've done that, and Syd certainly put on a great demonstration for us. Syd, carting your drag lines around, that's no mean task. And I guess the boom, do you take the booms off, or do you just leave them on and hang them over the front or over the back?
The smaller ones I hang 50 feet out over the back.
Yep.
In the centre. I haven't done it for a long time, but no, usually just a stub, 20-foot stub on the end. But they're very unbalanced if you can't take counterweights off.
Oh, okay.
They tip over backwards.
Yep.
Hence the reason we have this transport trailer with a folding gooseneck.
Now I have to say, be honest, I haven't seen a gooseneck like this, but this is old school.
Old school.
And
Ministry of Works had a lot of them.
Oh, yep. And so how does this work? Sort of just folds this all, that becomes on the end of there, and you put it on the ground, drive the machine up this way?
Yep. Just lays flat on the ground, and it's just a wedge. You just drive straight on, hook the winch on, pick her up over the roller on the back there, back in, push her back till these legs here drop in belt.
Yep.
Those ones drop in, which hold the rigid up,
and
you're motoring.
And you're away. So when did this go out? Somebody must have decided, oh, let's put the legs on the back, or the drop downs, and they'll climb up the back.
Yeah, well, with hydraulic diggers, they can lift themselves up, but the older machinery with a wire rope, you can't get much lift on the end of a wire rope.
No, no. And it just would drag itself up on that, like the tracks, just roll on? No
yeah,
worries.
just roll on. Well, it's starting from 4 inches to 18 inches, so when it's sitting on the ground.
So it's a nice gentle slope.
Just a gentle slope.
Yeah, wow. So all these extra logs just to stop it from rolling off?
I sometimes don't drop it right on the ground. I just put them in under the front.
Oh, okay.
So I can drive the truck away and leave the gooseneck up.
Sure, yeah.
So.
Oh, and I see him behind there, there's the winch, and it comes over the roller on the back end.
Yep,
It
just a roller on there.
Yeah. How long does all this process take? So the time you got your machine on, what, another 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep. No, they just back into it and pick it up, put the pin in and wind the winch up.
Do you have to rack down your machine, or you just sit there, or? No,
rack them down.
I know in some of these things you've seen the bulldozers sort of go on sideways.
Yeah.
They just set them sideways. They just hung out both ends and just take them down the road.
Yeah.
Photographs of the old days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I used to load drag lines sideways, the 10 RBs, on the little low bed step gooseneck low loaders. Just run them on side on. There was only a foot of track out over either side, but they just had tapered blocks.
Yep.
To put up against the side of the trailer, climb on, not even chain her down, put the digging lock in, and away they'd go.
But there you go, folks. This is a little bit of Ministry of Works history, and it lives today. What I've got here is a copy of Talking Trucks. This is a book I wrote a couple of years ago, and it's the history of New Zealand trucking. And it's all from the programs that I did between 2013 and 2016. I'm going to let this go for $25. So it's a special. So if you'd like your copy, there's my phone number, 027 277 0717. Just send me a text, or email me, billhohepper@extra.co.nz to get your copy. $25 and the history of New Zealand trucks. In this little section, you might remember we've looked at a few graders in our travels. I think the oldest one we could find was about 1886, which is way back in time. In fact, we're almost there again. But I just remember this particular type of grader is the one they were using to build the road that went from Queenstown to Kingston. And have a look at this photograph. It's being pulled by an old tractor, but the guy's standing up on between these two wheels. He's bent over and the blade is underneath me here, because obviously this can turn. A couple of wheels on the front there that he can walk down and adjust the handle. That little bar going across there. Not quite sure what that one does, but it's got a little locking pin with it. Locks into the little slot there so you can put it where you want. This one's the same. Put your boot on it and it'll lock into these little slots to lock it in place. But if you look at this little gear arrangement here, if I lift this up, it'll probably go right across. There you go. Adjust as required. There's some sort of a braking system just here where you put your foot on. Not sure what that does, but it's a horse-drawn one. On the front there's a spring, and then on the front of the wheels you can see the wheels are two wagon wheels from the old days, wooden spokes, steel tyres, and plenty of grease. Coopers made wheels back in the day, and they have steel rims and wooden spokes, and this is what I'm just intrigued to know how old this might be. Might be even older than 1886. And if I turn this handle, you can see the blade does the sideways tilt thing, and this one does the other side. But again, it's if you look at the style of these wheels, the people who make them take pride in how they built them. Lots of decoration, little levers, little gears, but an absolute work of art, really, when you think about it. But I just think, this is just amazing. And when we built the roads of New Zealand, it's just good to know that we actually had some resemblance of what would be equivalent to a bulldozer. Now it's got a wide blade that can scrape and make everything nice. But a staircase job, which is on that Queenstown to Kingston Road, they actually started a whole community around it. The number of people who had to go there to work, a school started up around it, families came, and so it was a whole project, a whole village stemmed from it. And if you go to Garston, the school that was set up at this place is now at Garston, so that's worth a bit of a visit if you're going down through the South Island. And Garston, by the way, is apparently the furthest town that's between the coasts, the furthest town away from the coast in any direction in New Zealand. But that school has got some history. So here we go, we've got the little springs. Everything's been built to make this thing do what it does. So it's just another great piece of New Zealand history sitting in a shed up here in Whangarei. This is a barrel nose V8, and on the door it says Taylor Brothers. And I'm going to talk to Eric Taylor, whose father was Jim Taylor, and he had one of these trucks similar to this, and the previous V8 Fords before it. And what they did with them was build the road between Kingston and Queenstown. So what we're going to do now is go and have a chat to Eric and have a look at the photographs that take us right back to the time 1933. So here we are with Eric, and Eric, welcome to our little show.
Thanks, Bill.
Eric Taylor, and as you've just seen, we've got a photograph of that same truck at Richardson's. It's got Taylor Brothers, Invercargill written on the side of it, and there's a picture of Eric standing next to it. So Eric, your family were instrumental in creating the road that goes from Kingston to...
Well, they were very helpful on it. We haven't got all the exact details, but from the information we've got, the whole job would have been run by the Ministry of Works.
Oh, okay,
and
yes.
they would have contracted, from what I can gather, information I've got, and done all the gravel work and the roading. Finishing off, they weren't involved with the blasting around the staircase.
So they were just the truck drivers?
They were truck drivers,
Sure.
And most of these little trucks were all loaded by hand, of course.
We see a lot of them with a wind-up tipper, on them?
Yeah, these didn't have them, I believe.
So they're shovel on, shovel off.
Yeah.
Wow.
This one here is, well, I think it's about 1933. It's my father hanging out the door on the side. He would have been about 16 then. A couple of uncles on the front, and this is outside the Kingston Hotel.
And they're all tailors?
One of them is an employee.
Oh, yes.
And I don't remember his name. The rest are tailors. There were 5 brothers.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Les, Bill, Archie, Russell and Jim, and father. He was the 5.
Was he the youngest?
He was the youngest, yeah.
Okay.
And so this would have been about 1933. It looks like a new truck. Yeah. All Ford V8s. They didn't use nothing but Fords.
No.
Now this Taylor Brothers, they camped along with many others just on the Kingston side of the Staircase Creek. And there was quite a large camp. It went right through from 33 to 36, I believe. 36 the road was opened, and they even opened a school there in 35. And there's a plaque on the side of the road between the road and the lake, somewhere around about 1 kilometre from the Staircase Creek. And it's not easy to find. You've got to get out and walk for it because it's overgrown, but it is there.
Sure. Just looking at these tents, they would have just stayed in those tents.
Yep, it's all undercover and tents, corrugated iron, or just canvas and corrugated iron, snow and horrendous frost in the winter.
What year is this?
That one there, I think, would be an earlier one. It doesn't have the V8
No.
sign on, so I think that's one of their older trucks. That one there is probably 33, 34. I may be wrong, but I understand that the V8s came out in the cars in 1934.
Yeah,
And you had the option. I had a B4 coupe in 34, and it was a 4-cylinder. Could drink more petrol than the V8. But I think the trucks must have come out a bit earlier with the V8 in them. Here's another view of the camps. And here we got, I think it's an old gravel crusher on the side, which it's just, when you look at it closely in the right light, you can see there is an elevator going up to it.
So somebody's loading the rocks down through the crusher and onto the truck.
Yeah.
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 Who's the lady in the...
Well, I'm pretty sure that is my auntie and my eldest cousin. This is just a shot of the winter.
And if you look at these little huts here, the river, it must have been freezing.
Oh, it'd be cold.
That's like frostbite freezing we're talking about.
It was cold, all right.
Real men.
And here's a shot of the Taylor Brothers camp. It's where they were. There's your Staircase Creek coming in.
Yep.
When you go down there today, you're going to come round that point there and round the bluff. And it's a beautiful piece of country. It was pretty tough times.
And so in the Depression, just having a job, even if it was digging on the side of the road, staying away for 6 months at a time, you can just see how cold it is in the snow.
No snow. Yeah. Chains on.
Really? They had chains back then?
Well, it looks like some sort of sort of grip system.
Yeah.
Although I can remember coming out of a bog one day with dog collars and fence stakes. Blundered into it without looking. They're all, as I say, they're nearly all V8s. They wouldn't have anything but Fords. And the boys all run around in the Ford car, V8 cars too at that stage.
That's probably the first car after you've done it.
Yeah, and I think this could be up towards White Creekville. It could be after the road opened.
Oh, right. In the 1930s, a lot of things happened in this country, and a lot of it was just hand done. Amazing. Yeah. Anyway, Eric, thank you very, very much for that. And good on you. Our shows are about the history of New Zealand transport and machinery, and sometimes the only way back is looking at photographs like Eric's and having the people who know about them talk them through. So if you have some old historic photographs, maybe you'd like to give me a call and we can come and talk about them.